What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, Fish Den 365. I'm your host, Den Haring, and today we're going to be talking about a knot that I recently discovered that connects your main line to your leader. As most of you know, I've been using a uni-to-uni knot to do that, but I found a knot that's just so much better that I just have to tell you about it. So about a year ago now, a friend of mine, Steve Benner, sent me a video about a knot called the Red Phillips knot. And the video was from Steve Rogers Outdoors. I really like his channel, by the way. He's got a lot of good videos on his channel. And I will put a link to the video where he talks about the Red Phillips knot right up here. Anyway, Steve Benner asked if I ever tried the knot, and I'd never heard of it. So that evening I tied it, and I pulled on it and looked at it and tested it and really liked the look of it and how it felt. And the reason for that is because it made a smaller knot than the uni-to-uni, and you could cut the tag ends right down to the knot, right to the knot, so that there was no tag ends sticking out to get caught on your guides when you're casting. And so I tied that knot a year ago and started using it exclusively for all of my connections from main line to leader. It's been about a year now, and I've been testing it. I didn't want to talk about it until I was really sure and confident that that was a great knot. And I can now tell you that it's a much better knot than the uni-to-uni from my experience, and I really like it. And I'm going to show you how to tie it here in a little bit. I'll also, in the link that I give with the Steve Rogers, he shows how to tie it as well, and it might be a different angle, so it may be good to watch both videos. The advantages of the knot are as follows. Number one, it's easy to tie. It's easier than the uni-to-uni once you learn it. It takes less finger and hand dexterity to tie this knot than it does the uni-to-uni. It's smaller than the uni-to-uni. It goes through your guides better than the double uni knot. And it's stronger, quite a bit stronger. I've been surprised about how strong this knot is when you tie it correctly. There's been times where I got hung up and I purposely broke off. In the past, most of those break-offs would break at that leader to main line knot because that's a weaker knot in general than a Palomar knot to your bait. Well, that's no longer the case. With this Red Phillips knot, many times it's breaking where the Palomar is tied at the end with the bait, and that's a good thing because then you can just tie on another bait to the end of that leader. You haven't lost your leader, you haven't broken where the main line is, so you can easily just tie on another bait and continue fishing. So another advantage. And the knot, like I said, I've been experimenting with it. I cut the tag ends right down to the knot, and it's just amazing. It won't slip. This knot will not slip. I've used it 20-pound braid, and pairing that up with as light as 6-pound fluorocarbon, 20-pound braid to 17-pound mono, 10-pound and 8-pound braid down to 6-pound mono and fluoro. I've used a lot of combinations between the braid and the leader, and every time the knot comes out extremely strong, very small, compact. And so we're going to show you how to tie this now. One thing that you want to do is make sure you tie it exactly the way I show, because the way we tie this, there is one line that gets looped around 7 times, and it needs to be your braided line. It doesn't have to be, but it should be, because if you loop your braided line around, that's what makes the loops and makes a little bit of the knot. But the braided line, when you cinch that down, it goes to smaller, and it's also soft. It's not stiff like mono or fluoro would be. And so therefore it just passes through your guides that much easier. So let's get around the other side of the camera now, and we'll show you how we tie this knot, the Red Phillips knot. Before we do, let me just give you a little bit of history on Red Phillips. Red Phillips was a saltwater angler. I don't know a whole lot about him. I do know that he has since passed on, but famous saltwater angler, and I believe he came up with this knot, why it's called the Red Phillips knot. And I'm just blown away about how effective this knot has been for me. So let's go ahead. We'll show you how to tie it right now. So we've got main line here in my right, my leader in my left, 20-pound test, 17-pound test. So the first thing I'm going to do is just going to put that braided line down. I'm going to take my leader. I'm going to take about 7 or 8, maybe 9 inches of it, and I'm just going to make a loop knot here, a half hitch. So, and I'm just gonna keep it open but draw it down a little bit. And then I'm going to take my braided line, come from behind and bring it through that loop and make a tag end of that braided line that's as long as what's left of my leader here. And then I'm going to wet my fingers here and just wet this monofilament, and I'm just going to cinch it down, not real tight, just cinch it down onto the braided line. And then what I want to do is take the tag end of the leader, the tag end of the braided line, and the main braided line, and have them all together, all on one side, and then the other side of the leader here alone by itself. And then I want to take the tag end of the braided line, and just, this is going to be like how you would do a uni, a one-sided uni. I'm going to make a loop, and I'm going to do 7 wraps over the main line and the tag end of the monofilament. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, 4, there's 5, whoops, came back out, there's 5, number 6, and 1 more, number 7. You want to have it go over both the tag end of the leader and the main line, the main braided line. So now I have these 7 wraps on the braid here, and then I'm going to wet this braided line, and I'm going to just take the braided line and cinch that up first. It's important to do this first. It makes the knot stronger and better. So you can see I just cinched that up. Now I'm going to make sure everything's wet, and I'm going to take the tag end of the leader and the main line, and we're just going to pull that so that it cinches up with the braid. So there you have it, and we're just going to make sure this is good and tight. So we're going to draw this real tight. I'm pulling real hard. I'm going to cinch up everything else, including the tag end of the mono here, tag end of the braid, and then we're ready to clip our lines. So I'm going to take a clippers. I usually like to cut the braided line first, so let's go after that first. So I want to take my braid scissors here, and I'm going to cut it really, really close to the knot. And so there we have, what's left is the mono tag end. I'm going to take a clipper and I'm going to go right up to the knot and clip it. It will not slip. And the advantage of this now is the part that was wrapped is the softer braided line. And so because that's soft like that, it's going to come through your guides a lot better. Now there is one thing I like to do that I've added this, this wasn't shown in the knot. I take some of this Loon hard head clear. This is head cement that fly tyers use when they're tying flies, but I like to put a little bit of it on my knot, and I think it helps protect the knot as it's going through the guides, and it just makes it stronger all the way around. So I'm going to open this up. Oops, I just made a mess. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to take a little bit, made another mess, put it on my Q-tip. There we go. I've got a lot on there, more than I need. If I have too much, I'll just wipe some of it down here. There we go. And then I'm just going to rub it onto the knot. I want to cover the whole knot with it, get it on there, and then let it dry. And sometimes I'll just blow on it to let it dry, or I'll let it sit for a little bit just so that can dry. We'll let that dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll test the strength of that knot for you real quick. Alright, so here's the knot. Hopefully you can see that. Super strong, and it's been great. I cut the tag ends way down, as you just saw, and it comes through the guides like butter. It's smaller than the double uni knot, and you don't have the tag sticking out in any way, shape, or form. Stronger, easier to tie, better. This is the only knot I've been using now to tie my leader to my main line, braid to mono or braid to fluorocarbon. Very good knot, and I encourage you to give it a try. I'll have that the original video of this knot where Steve Rogers shows how to tie it as well, so you can look at what I've done and look at what Steve's doing to tie his, and try it yourself. You know, I tied this one time, and I felt that I knew how to tie it already just by doing that, and I practiced it a few times, and it's worked very well for me ever since. So that's it. That's the Red Phillips knot. I implore you to try it. If you have any question about your knots from your main line to your leader and their effectivity, this is a good one to check out. It didn't take me long to learn it at all. The first time I tied it, I understood what I did, and I understood how to tie it, and then it only took a few repetitions before I was able to tie that knot very easily. You can do this knot in the dark. You know, there are some knots that are really good leader to line knots, but they're extremely complicated to tie. You feel like you need a third hand, and God forbid if it was dark and you couldn't see what you were doing, you'll never get it right. Red Phillips knot, you need 2 hands, that's it, and you can do it blindfold once you learn how. So it's got a lot of advantages that way, and it is extremely strong when you tie it the way we show you in the video. Well, I hope you liked the video. If you did, if you got something out of it, please give me that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that like button. That helps me get my videos out to more people. If you haven't done so and you would like to subscribe to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And when you do, you can hit that bell. That'll give you a notification for when the next video is coming out. And if you want to watch a video about how to land fish, how to effectively land them, and minimizes your chance of losing those fish, go ahead and watch this video right here. It'll call out the most common mistakes anglers make when landing a fish. Well, I hope you enjoyed everything. Again, we'll be back soon, so keep it tuned here. Hope to see you on the water. As always, be safe out there, and may God bless your fishing endeavors.